Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Now, about a month ago, I played for you 4 different software pianos. We had 2 from Native Instruments. It was the Grandeur and Alicia keys, and 2 from Pianoteq. We played the Steinway D and the Petrov. And after I showed you those 4 pianos, I asked you to vote for your favourites. And today we will total up the votes and then we will compare the 2 winning software pianos against the 2 flagship grand pianos on this Yamaha MODX, namely the CFX Concert Grand and the Bosendorfer Imperial. So this could be a long video as we have 4 different pianos to explore. I'll just play them for you and improvise, and we'll just hang out together and talk about and enjoy the 4 different pianos. And then at the end, I'll give you my scientific shootout where we run the same MIDI file through all 4 of the pianos. 2 software pianos, 2 of the flagship pianos from the MODX, which incidentally are the same sounds, the same pianos that you get on the flagship Montage. I said flagship far too many times, I'm sorry. A huge thanks to Yamaha, Native Instruments and Pianoteq for providing the gear so that I could make this video. So here are the votes, and thank you very much to everybody that placed their votes. There were quite a few. It took me a long while to count them up. I did this about a week ago and a few more votes have come in since then, but I can assure you they don't influence the result. So at the top we have Pianoteq Stage with a tick for each vote. Pianoteq Petrov came next. NI Grandeur, NI Alicia's keys. So you can see the Petrov fell back there a little bit, but the other ones carried on all the way until I ran out of paper. So let's just move this over and finish it off. So you can see Pianoteq Stage came in at 2nd place. Pianoteq Stage Steinway, it is there, came in at 2nd place. NI Grandeur was quite the clear winner. Let's start with the Pianoteq Steinway D. This is the Steinway D Prelude. This is the preset that loads when you first start up Pianoteq Stage. So I suppose it's one of their highlight sounds. There are many presets available. We'll play some of those in just a second. Just in case it's not completely obvious, we are not hearing the sounds of the MODX right now. You're hearing everything through the computer here and this software synthesizer Pianoteq Stage. This is just being used as a dumb MIDI controller right now. Well, not so dumb, but you know what I mean. Pianoteq is a purely physically modelled software piano, meaning it doesn't use any samples at all. So this is a very lightweight installation. It's under 100 megabytes if I recall. Compared to the Native Instruments libraries we'll take a look at later, which are several gigabytes large. Although surprisingly this one does use a little bit more CPU than, let's make this full screen, there we go. This one does use a bit more CPU than the Native Instruments stuff. It's quite remarkable how little processing power the NI plugins use, given the size of the libraries there. But this one's also very low. We're talking just a few percent, maybe 8% of my CPU this one is using, and I have a mid-range PC from about 5 years ago, which I am in the process of upgrading, you'll be pleased to hear. Let's take a look at the instrument here and some of the things you can do. Now this is the stage version of Pianoteq, which costs about $100 or 100 euros. People told me when I did the previous comparison that I should be using the standard version of Pianoteq, but that one costs about $300 if I remember rightly. So 3 times the price of this. And I wanted to choose a version of Pianoteq that does compare price-wise with the native instruments libraries. So I've chosen pianos quite deliberately here that cost about $100 each. So we can do a more equal comparison. And I'm told the sound engine of this Pianoteq stage version is exactly the same as the full version of Pianoteq. It's just that you lose a lot of the options to tweak the piano sound. But the raw piano sounds will be exactly the same if you play the Steinway D Prelude on this version compared to the full $300 version. So I don't think you're losing out very much really. If you're like me anyway and just wants to play and enjoy the sound of these pianos. Let's take a quick look at some of the things you can do. I keep getting distracted and playing stuff here. Let me show you some of the parameters. There's not a lot you can do, but some quite important parameters you can tweak. The reverb, we can switch off all of this if you like. There's some equalizers, reverbs and delay enabled. Switch them back on again. And you do have quite fine control over all of the effects, certainly enough for me. And the microphone is right in the way of the screen. You might not appreciate just how complicated it is to make these videos, getting everything in position. But anyway, I'm not going to tweak these parameters because the microphone is in the way, but you can see some of the ability you have to tweak the equalizers, the delay there. It's providing just a little bit of chorusing, actually in this case. And then we can tweak the reverbs to our heart's content as well. I'm just going to step up here, perhaps to a different room. Completely dry. Let's go to a large hall. So some really nice sounding lush. Sorry about my ham-fisted playing. Here you would really like to have a few more octaves as well. I'm playing this on the 61, so I'm having to creatively use the octave transpose to get the full register. Let's try playing around with some of the presets. Some of these are really nice. Oh, one more feature we can demonstrate right now. You can, of course, you can adjust some of the features of the keyboard action as well. Mute. Key release noise. Let's reset that one. Is it just a control click perhaps? Shift click? Not sure. Let's put it back in the middle. I don't remember where it came from in the beginning. Okay, a lot more key release noise there. Sustain pedal noise as well, you can hear. just too much. Other things we can mess around with is the mallet bounce. Not sure what all these parameters do, but let's wind them all up to max and see what happens. Okay, let's take a listen to some of the presets. So I've got the Steinway D here, and you can see you get about 20 presets with it. What do we have? Anything catch my mind here? Let's just flick through a couple and you can hear what they sound like. Jazz, we have classical. One thing you can adjust as well is the microphone setup here. Stereophonic, monophonic, not very nice, surprisingly. Sound recording, and we have binaural. And that's stored with the preset. So B, A, B, that's different microphone combinations. Pop, intimates, hyper bright, let's try that. Not that bright, but certainly brighter. What do we have? Honky tonks we have here. We try prepared, not sure what that means. Okay, it's got some tacks in the hammers or something. Honky tonk. Super tonk. Oh. You have the ability to control the condition of the instrument as well on the bottom. Seems to be put on the max right now, but we're still getting a very amazing. Out of tune. The other one wasn't, was it? Very nice. Worn out, completely worn out. And this is the advantage with physical modelling. We don't have any samples, but there's a mathematical model of the piano, of the strings, the hammers, the resonance of the piano body itself, and the room as well. So you're able to do these drastic tweakings of the conditions of the instrument, for example, which is really interesting. With samples, there's quite a lot of flexibility, more than you might think when we take a look at the Grandeur in a minute, but not to this degree anyway. Oh. One that caught my eye was Ruins. Oh, cinematic stuff perhaps? Oh, maybe not. Now we had a cinematic I wanted to try. What does this one sound like? Okay, much more mellow, compressed by the sounds of it. Let's see if we can play a sort of cinematic riff. Just retrieve my sustain pedal. What should we do? reminds me of another tune. I like this. That's wonderful. I love that. That's a really little delicate. Kind of less is more sound. You don't have to play so many notes here. Try one thing. This is the slider I was talking about where you can adjust how the condition of the instrument, how out of tune it is. And remember, an out of tune piano, a piano has 2 or 3 strings, I think, for every note. So what you're able to do is adjust the relative tuning of those strings per note, so you can get some really detuned effects. Again, which you can't do on a sample library because that's a sample of one note with all of the 3 strings included in the sample, if you see what I mean. So let's just wind this slider down a bit. About halfway. Nice. How far can we push it? Yeah, very quickly gets crazy, but the sweet spot maybe around here somewhere. Now let's take a listen to Native Instruments, the Grandeur, which was your #1 favourite. Yeah. That was the sound of the Grandeur then, a sample library from Native Instruments that's running in Kontakt here. This is, I don't remember exactly, but let's say it's 10 gigabytes or so. It's in that ballpark anyway. Just trying to, sorry, my sustain pedal keeps trying to escape. Let's play through a few snapshots to get the idea of the variety you can get here. It's quite surprising from a sampled instrument how much you can tweak the sound. So that's basic Grandeur, which I added a little bit of effects to. See what else we've got, see if we can find something interesting. Okay, much more compressed this one. That's great. I like these compressed pianos. Crisp pop grand. Beautiful. Good choice, you guys that voted for the Grandeur. Liking it a lot so far. Deep Grandeur. Okay, much more mellow. Jazzy Grand. I know they have levitating grand, a lot of like beautiful reverb on this one. Wonderful stuff. Pop clean. How many presets do we have to play with? Okay, down here. There's one that I've played before. Pumped pop grand. Very compressed, as you can hear. Let's see, there's some really nice ones here. Soft but loud I've played before and really enjoyed. Let's do some more cinematic stuff. Oh, yeah. You can hear this one also has that sustain pedal effect, and everything is amped up on this piano. Sorry. Ruined it with that wrong note. Yeah, I do like that a lot. Let's go back to the basic grandeur, which is going to sound terribly thin after playing that heavily compressed and EQ'd piano. But this is more of a normal piano sound, really. Let's see what we can do. I can adjust the tone. Interesting. All the way down. Oh! Let's put it back somewhere around here. We can close the lid in various stages. Completely closed. Let's open it back up as you would do with a real grand. What's it saying here? Dynamic range. Yeah, okay, we can make it less sensitive to dynamics. How do we reset these? Is it control click? Yeah. And over on the right, you can adjust the effects, which were switched off actually. Okay, and size and amount we can adjust, and also the type of reverb here. You can choose, let's have something crazy. Taj Mahal. Really high quality reverbs, as you would expect. Now by clicking here we can adjust more parameters, an equalizer there as well. So you could give it a more mid-rangey bassy sound. If you switch it on, that is. Careful not to clip if you mess around with the equalizer and push it too far, of course. Still clipping. Let's switch off the EQ. We're just getting into trouble here. Probably best to cut stuff rather than boost. Let's switch on some of these, see what we get. And here's the compressor that we heard on some of the previous tracks, the previous presets. Ooh. Anatomy, we have some things we can tweak as well. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so you can see there's quite a lot to play around with here as well. Let's crank up some of the noises to give it a bit more character. Samples. Now it's time to listen to the hardware synthesizer. How does the CFX Concert Grand stack up against the software pianos? Please do forgive me, this is quite a light-weighted keyboard. If you're not absolutely 100% precise, you can easily end up triggering an adjacent key and mucking up the entire performance. Just like that. Yeah, this is the CFX Concert then. There are a few CFX piano presets loaded here. Well, more than a few, there are several dozens. And many of them are mixed with pads and strings and digital effects and so on. This is the basic CFX Concert, the flagship piano sound on the MODX. I'll play you later the Bosendorfer as well, which is an additional download from Yamaha that you can install on the flash memory. But this is the onboard piano sound that you get when you buy it. There are a couple of variations. There's one version here. I don't know if the screen is coming out okay. I'll zoom in perhaps and show you some B-roll if not. But there are 4 performances within this performance. A performance contains many other performances to give you your splits, your layers, and your multi-timbral performances. This is the more advanced version of the CFX, which is intended for solo performance. There is another one, if we increment up here, that's called CFX Stage, that just contains a single performance. And this one you'd probably use in the context of a multi-timbral mix where you're using lots of other sounds at the same time with an external sequencer perhaps. But this one is the finest one. I was a bit confused about this whole architecture, so let's cut now to some B-roll and I'll explain what's going on here with the help of a Yamaha article. So this is an excellent article, Mastering MODX Performance Basics 1. Let's scroll down to the picture here. So this is a close-up of the screen, a graphic here, and this is an example of a single part performance, a performance that contains one part. And the bit that's confusing me a little bit here is that the parts of a performance are actually performances themselves. So there's a level of recursion here going on that's a bit too much for my brain. If we scroll down a bit further, we can see an example of the CFX Concert that I was playing for you, where we have several parts available, several performances combined in one performance. Why are they doing this then? Let's have a look. There is a 9-way velocity switch set up across the main body of the piano and an 8-way velocity switch set up on the notes above. So this one has much more nuance and detail, so it's the one I'll be focusing on in my demonstration. Plenty more analysis and information over on the Mastering MODX page if you're seeking that kind of information. Loving the dynamics on this. I'm not going to do any deep editing today. I can show you what it's like with a bit of reverb or not. We can crank up the reverb here. Turn it off completely. And when we get to the Bosendorfer, I'll show you how you can effectively layer these with many other sounds to create some interesting effects by showing you some of the presets that come with the Bosendorfer. I'm not going to do any tweaking of the parameters here today. I just wanted to focus on the raw piano sounds. And I guess that was it. Okay, I will give you one more here that I just discovered. I like this CFX padded. Finally then, let's take a listen to the Bosendorfer Imperial Grand add-on to the MODX and the Montage. I'll play you the core sound and then we'll play some of the interesting presets that you get when you install the piano. Alright, that was the wonderful sound of the Bosendorfer Imperial Grand Piano. And this is a free upgrade to the MODX you can download from Yamaha. It's a 0.5 GB sample library of this Imperial Grand Piano. The MODX has 1 GB of flash memory built in, so you can use about half of it to store this piano library, and that leaves half left over for the Chick Corea Rhodes, which I'm also enjoying, but we'll save that one for a separate video. Very dynamic. If you play one wrong note, play it again over and over again. Playing softly. To loud. Quite remarkable. Let's just play through some of the sounds here. When you install this sample library, you get a whole bunch of interesting presets as well. Let's play through some of these together, just improvise, see what we come up with. Mellow Imperial. Okay, we have Imperial Pop Rock. Yep, that's going to cut through in any mix, I'm sure. Dark Wooden Box, quite the opposite then. Yeah, 2 grands. digipad. If you wanted to layer your Bosendorfer with a DX7, now you can. Imperial Tines, a similar thing. A layer with a Rhodes. Oh, a lot of dynamics. Oh, this is nice. Oh! With an interesting shimmer delay. Oh. Oh, beautiful. Really enjoyed that. Imperial breakup. Oh. Love that as well. Imperial strings, I can guess what this is. Imperial garage? What? Oh, this is nice. Another cinematic thing. Let's see what we can do. Yeah. Imperial harpsichord, we'll skip over that one. All digital. Okay. What comes to mind? Cool. Yes, that could be a lot of fun, I think. And the last one then, we have one called the Extra Pianist. Maybe there are more banks, but I think this will do to demonstrate the Bosendorfer today. I hope you enjoyed my improvisation, some of it which was quite nice, I thought, and some of it which was not so nice at all. But it is what it is. And this is interesting. I'm trying to play a major chord, but it's playing some dissonant stuff in the background, which is interesting. Wow. Let's stick to a minor key then, G minor. That seems to work better. How did the hardware synthesizer stack up against the software synthesizers? For me, I was quite surprised how well this piano sounds. It's just a synthesizer workstation after all. But for me, it stacked up very, very favorably against these piano software libraries that are focused on doing one job and doing it well. But this all-in-one multi-purpose instrument did a fantastic job, I think. Let's be honest, in my opinion, all of these pianos sounded absolutely fantastic. I think we're fortunate enough now in 2019 that all of these emulations are getting so close to the sound of a real acoustic piano that it's really hard to find faults with them or pick a clear favourite. But none of these match the experience or the sound you get when you sit down in front of a real acoustic grand piano and play it. You're never going to achieve that using headphones, some software, or some monitor loudspeakers like we have right now. But I do think the sound of these software pianos and synthesizers does capture the sound of a recorded acoustic grand piano, making it perfect for use on stage or when you're recording music for a track. That's quite an interesting point, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to help me out, then I encourage you to visit my website, woodypianoshack.com, which lists a number of ways that you can support me so that I can continue to make this kind of video. Thanks ever so much in advance. And of course, thank you for your comments on my previous video with the 4 software pianos. Thank you for sharing your opinions and giving me your votes. That's all for today then. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Cheerio. Actually, no, we're unable to do that. The reason is I keep getting copyright strikes for using that MIDI composition, even though I know for a fact that the company that issues the strikes does not have the permission to use that file. How do I know this? It's because I know the composer. That's a topic for my podcast, perhaps.